Some horror works because it's frightening, some because it's flat-out bizarre. Today we're digging up a few gems of that kind. Different times, different tones, all bound by the same bizarre energy. We begin with a Cronenberg film, and also his very first. Shivers takes place in a high-rise apartment block where a genetically engineered parasite spreads like a sexually transmitted disease. Designed by a mad scientist, it turns people into uncontrollable sex maniacs, passing from resident to resident until the whole building descends into chaos. The film is both shocking and absurd. Parasites are hurled off balconies, neighbors attack each other in the corridors, and in its most famous scene, a slug-like creature slithers up through a bathtub drain toward Barbara Steele. Mixing dystopian ideas with Romero-style carnage, Shivers showed the twisted direction Cronenberg's career would take, and some would say he never topped the sheer, depraved fun of this debut. Nobuhiko Obayashi's house begins with a schoolgirl who invites 6 of her classmates to spend the summer at her aunt's isolated country home. Once they arrive, the visit turns into a barrage of surreal horrors: floating heads, possessed watermelons, bleeding clocks, dancing skeletons, a demonic cat, and even a piano that devours its players. At just under 90 minutes, the film is a relentless sensory assault. Obayashi based much of it on his 10-year-old daughter's nightmares, and that childlike imagination gives the movie its unpredictable, dreamlike quality. House doesn't aim for coherence or realism. It thrives on chaos, leaving the audience unsure whether to laugh, scream, or simply surrender to its bizarre energy. No list of bizarre horror films would be complete without Lifeforce. Directed by Tobe Hooper, the man behind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Poltergeist, this was Cannon Films' attempt at a big-budget summer blockbuster. Instead, they wound up with an expensive cult movie about alien space vampires. The story follows a joint mission between the United States and the United Kingdom that discovers an alien craft filled with 3 humanoids in glass coffins. Brought aboard their shuttle, the beings kill the crew and eventually make their way to Earth. Once free in London, they drain people of their life force, leaving behind hordes of zombie-like victims. It falls to astronaut Tom Carlson and Colonel Colin Kane to stop the invasion before it consumes the city. What the film really delivers is Matilda May as the space girl. She spends nearly the entire movie nude, gliding through scenes with an otherworldly presence that's both seductive and terrifying. It may not be the polished blockbuster Cannon hoped for, but as a piece of sci-fi horror madness, it's as strange and entertaining as they come. Lamberto Bava, son of Italian horror legend Mario Bava, built his own career in the 1980s by moving away from his father's elegance and embracing something far more grotesque. Delirium is one of those films. It follows Gloria, the head of a porn magazine, who is stalked by a killer targeting her friends and models. Each murder perversely boosts the magazine's sales, blurring the line between exploitation and horror. The killer sees his victims as monsters, an alien with a giant eye or a half-woman, half-fly, while their bodies remain untouched. These surreal images add a twisted edge to the violence and turn the murders into nightmarish visions. Delirium may not be as famous as Bava's other work, but its mix of blood, surrealism, and slasher tension makes it a striking entry. Santa Sangre, which means holy blood, tells the story of Phoenix, a boy raised in a circus. His father is a knife thrower, and his mother is a trapeze artist devoted to a cult that worships a mutilated child. Phoenix is traumatized after seeing his father cut off his mother's arms before taking his own life. and he spends his youth in a mental institution. As an adult, he escapes and reunites with his mother. Armless and domineering, she forces him to act as her hands and pushes him to kill women who try to get close to him. The film was first planned as a gore picture, but Jodorowsky turned it into something larger. It combines violence, surreal images, and psychological drama in a way that constantly blurs the line between reality and madness. Another Italian film in our list is A Cat in the Brain, one of Lucio Fulci's final works. The director turns the camera on himself, playing a fictional version of his own persona, haunted by grotesque visions taken straight from the horror and exploitation films he creates. These hallucinations grow stronger and more disturbing, raising the question, how do you scare the man who has scared everyone? Looking for help, he turns to a psychiatrist, unaware that the doctor is a murderer who uses these visions to hide his own crimes, convincing Fulci that he is the one responsible. True to his reputation, the film is loaded with blood, gore, and outrageous murder scenes, but it also reflects on the anxiety of a filmmaker trapped in the world he built. Canada really does make some strange horror movies, and Decoys is a good example. Set in a New Brunswick college town, the story follows two roommates, Luke and Roger. After sneaking into a sorority girls' room, Luke witnesses something impossible. The girl sprouting tentacles while her friend sprays them with liquid nitrogen. Convinced they are aliens, he tries to warn others, but no one believes him, especially since he was drunk at the time. As deaths begin to pile up, Luke starts investigating on his own. There's little gore, but plenty of familiar genre tropes. Suspicious characters, fake scares, and a detective who keeps calling Luke Puppy. The cast delivers solid performances, and the movie moves quickly enough to stay entertaining. Not especially frightening or groundbreaking, Decoys is the kind of oddball horror that's fun in the moment, even if it's almost instantly forgettable. Mad God is best described as stop motion from hell. Phil Tippett spent 30 years bringing this vision to life, creating a ruined world of endless war, decay, and suffering. The result is both a remarkable work of visual art and a deeply unsettling experience. The imagery is relentless. Tortured giants strapped into machines, creatures of all shapes and sizes crawling and devouring, and experiments carried out on living subjects. Every set is dark and claustrophobic, every movement heavy with dread. By the end, Mad God feels like a descent into the worst reality imaginable, one from which there is no escape.